Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. Today, I want to do a comparison between Dave Ramsey and Grant Cardone. These are the social media finance and investment gurus that we have for today. They're the most popular ones, particularly in social media. And I'm going to go down the list and break it down as far as whether I agree or I disagree with their standpoints. Now, yes, both of them have been accused by some people of being scammers or con artists. I'm not going to go into that. And to be honest with you, personally, I know people who have followed Dave Ramsey's way and they are making money. Granted, they're not of millionaire status, but they are making money. Grant Cardone, I know one person who actually invested in his capital fund, which was like a syndicate. They're making 8% on their money. And then the other person, he recently purchased a multi-million-dollar property. So I do know people who have made money from the two schools of thought. All right. So therefore, I hesitate in calling either one of them a con artist. Even though when I look a little bit further, there are certain things that they have done that's somewhat questionable. But I'll leave that alone. That can be for another video. All right. Number one difference between Dave Ramsey and Grant Cardone. Dave Ramsey believes in scarcity. He does not believe that money is something that comes easily, while Grant Cardone believes in abundance. Because of my faith, I would say that once you change your mindset, money will come to you more in abundance than opposed to in scarcity. Okay, so I believe it's really a belief system or a mindset shift. And once you shift your mind, it'll go from being scarce to being abundant. But there's also a number of other things that need to change as well, like who you hang out with, what type of job you do, or what kind of business you're in, and where that business is located. Those are also determining factors as to whether money is going to be scarce or money is going to be abundant for you. Next, Dave Ramsey believes in working hard. Grant Cardone believes in working smart. I believe in both. However, I believe that just working hard is not going to do it, because many people work hard and they really don't make a lot of money. Okay? While if they were to work hard in, let's say, the right field, with a good team, which is the smart way, then yes, they would make way more money. Now, with Dave Ramsey, especially for those who are trying to get out of debt, he believes that they should take on more jobs. Grant Cardone, on the other hand, believes that people should invest. I believe that you can do both, but you don't want, in my opinion, more than two jobs, to be quite honest with you. And it depends on what kind of job it is that you're taking up. Again, that goes back to working smart, like how much money are they giving you and what the benefits are. Okay. Next, Dave Ramsey, he is primarily into saving up your money, while Grant Cardone is into investing. Now, I do believe in saving, but saving alone is not going to cut it. You do need to invest your money. I actually did my own little quick dry calculation, and it was based on a post that someone put up that was dead wrong. Okay. Um, Basically, if you had just put your money in the bank and you let it grow from, let's say, 1900 till today. Now, the savings rate, as we know, it changes. But let's say it was the same savings rate as what we're making now, which is like 0.05%, something to that effect. From 1900 till now, you would have had at least $6,050. Okay. If you had invested that money from 1900 till today, you would have $93,455.98. Investing meaning invested it in the stock market. And if it was real estate, it would definitely be a lot more. So, in that regards, I sort of disagree with Dave Ramsey, and I'm more with Grant Cardone. Next, Dave Ramsey, when it comes to investing, he believes in simply index mutual funds, right? No stocks, no ETFs. Grant Cardone, does not believe in investment diversity. He is really more a real estate person, and his attitude towards the stock market kind of is like, well, if you're going to do stocks, just stick with stocks and don't do real estate. I disagree with both of them. I believe you should invest all the way around. First of all, mutual funds are more expensive than ETFs. Okay, so Dave Ramsey, no. Next, when it comes to stocks, yes, stocks are way more riskier than mutual funds or ETFs, but I do believe that you can and should invest in the stock market, invest in just stocks. And I believe you should also invest in bonds. Here's why. Particularly when you invest in your state bonds, many of them are tax-free. So for that reason alone, I disagree because it's sort of like a tax haven. Now, sometimes the interest rates on the bonds are not all that great, but that's why you should educate yourself and learn the proper way to invest. All right. I don't believe that you should have, unlike Grant, I don't believe that all your money should be in one investment. I believe that you should diversify, because when one thing, I just don't believe that you should have all your eggs in one basket. When one thing goes down, then you'll have money somewhere else that'll go up. Because I have an adjustable rate fund, and then I have a fixed fund. And I noticed that whenever the fixed fund is not doing well, the adjustable rate does great, and vice versa. Also, just to give you a little bit background on myself, I was born in 1971 during an inflationary period. I've been through like 2 recessions. When I graduated out of college, I couldn't find a job, okay, for over a year. So that's one of the reasons why I don't believe in having all of my eggs in one basket. It's because of my personal experience. And I know that just having everything in one area, it's not going to work. It definitely didn't work for me, and I don't believe it's going to work for anybody else. Next, Dave Ramsey believes that all debt is bad and you should get out of it as soon as possible. You should pay down all your debt. Grant Cardone, he believes that you should leverage debt. He's not really for personal debt, though. He's for business debt. All right. Now, here's the thing. I agree with Dave Ramsey. I don't think you should have personal debt hanging around. I think you should pay that off as soon as possible. However, I agree with Grant Cardone that when it comes to owning a business, you can leverage your debt to buy more property. All right, next, when it comes to schools, Dave Ramsey believes that you should pay off your school right away. Don't apply to a college or a school that you can't pay up front. Now, Grant Cardone believes that you shouldn't go to school at all. So, here's my thoughts on this. When I went to college, you had to pay. There wasn't any free colleges like they have them right now. Number two, I was born in a single parent household. My mother worked 3 jobs, and the amount of money that she saved, because my mother did not know how to invest, it was not enough for her to pay off college up front in full. Okay, and back then, I believe there were a few colleges. I think the cheapest one was maybe like $3,000 or $5,000. My mother did not have that. Okay, so that in itself for me, I couldn't do the Dave Ramsey way. Now, today, I don't know of a college that is that cheap. I do know that here in New York, we do have some free colleges. I can definitely afford free. Okay. But if there is a college that's $3,000 and my nieces or what have you, they wanted to attend a college like that, I can definitely assist them in doing so in full. All right. As far as don't go to college at all, which is what Grant Cardone is about, it really depends on what it is that you're going to take or what it is that child is going to study. If that child is going into nursing, which is what one of my nieces is doing, I do believe that college is necessary. Okay. I have a godson who is an engineer, and trust and believe going to college is necessary. When you go into, let's say, IT, college is not necessary. There are trade schools that are teaching a lot of the things that will enable you to get a job in IT. So you don't really need a college for IT anymore. And then there are other fields that are out there that one may not necessarily need college for, but there are definitely fields where college is needed. So I would have to disagree to a certain extent with Grant Cardone on that issue. The next thing, moving on, is cash. Dave Ramsey says cash is king. And Grant Cardone says cash is trash. So how do I feel about it? Well, I still believe that you should have cash on hand. I was raised that you should have at least $20 in your purse, okay? And you should definitely have money in the bank. However, we are moving into a new age where currency is becoming digital. So I don't believe that all of your money or everything you have should be cash. Which leads me to the next topic, and that is Bitcoin. Both men don't seem to be very strong believers in Bitcoin. I am a strong believer in digital currency. Why? Because Akon is building a city in Africa, and it will be serviced by a coin, which is his digital currency that he's creating. Secondly, the mayor of Miami is pushing Bitcoin for the whole entire city. And also now the new mayor of New York is also pushing Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, he said that he wants his first three paychecks to be only Bitcoin. And he is also passing a law that's making all children in New York City public schools learn Bitcoin. So I believe in digital currency for those reasons. Okay? The next thing is that Dave Ramsey does not believe in credit cards. Okay, I understand where he's coming from. A lot of people are frivolous when it comes to using credit cards, but I believe they're frivolous with it because they haven't been taught properly how to use it. Credit cards are not bad at all. It's the person who has the credit card who is not educated on its importance. Why do I think credit cards are necessary? Because you're buying things on the internet, number one. You can't use cash to buy those products, and sometimes you do need those products. Okay, even going to some of us, I know that when I moved here, where I live right now, there was a time when we didn't have a Home Depot close by. All right, so it kind of got a little tiresome driving so far to a Home Depot to get products. And since Home Depot was offering free shipping delivery at that particular time, I said, you know what? Let me just order what I need over the internet. And that's exactly what I did. And I had to use a credit card to do it. So that's why I disagree with him on that. The second thing is, when you have a credit card, you can use the points to, let's say, pay off vacation. And that's what I did. A lot of the products that I bought, which were tax deductible, mind you, accrued points on my credit card, and I was able to use those points many times to pay a vacation off in full. So that's why I disagree with Dave Ramsey when it comes to his no credit card rule, right? And then next, Dave Ramsey believes that you should pay off a house. Grant Cardone, he doesn't believe you should buy a house at all. He says that you should rent, and the only time you should have a mortgage is if you own an apartment building. Well, I agree more with Dave Ramsey on this particular issue. I believe you should definitely try to pay off your home as quickly as possible. You might not be able to pay it off as quickly as he would like you to do so, but I believe it's best, especially when the economy goes south. Unlike Grant Cardone, who says you should not buy a house, I totally disagree with him. First of all, there's a lot of tax write-offs that you can have with a house. And secondly, you can use a house, even if it's a single family, you can use that house and make money off of that house. Okay? There are many different ways in which you can do so. So I totally disagree with Grant Cardone on this issue, and I'm totally for Dave Ramsey on this issue. All right. Now, Grant Cardone, he also does not believe that you should purchase land. At one time, I was also in agreement with that, but now I know better. The reason is you can make money off of buying land. Now, if you buy land and you don't do anything with it, you're going to be taxed tremendously. All right. However, there are grants, particularly for women, for veterans, for minorities, who take land and will do something with it. For example, you can grow trees on it and sell those trees to a lumber yard, a sawmill. The government is actually giving money to people to grow certain wildflowers on their land, to grow certain berries, etc. And you can sell all of that and make money on it. Also, if you have land, you can actually sell it to a developer or you can develop it yourself. Believe it or not, in some areas, developing land, meaning building houses on it, is actually cheaper than buying a house and trying to flip it. Okay, so I disagree with Grant Cardone. I think that the reason why he said that is because he just doesn't know what's available and what's out there. He might also change his tune really soon, because I've been, on stages with him on Clubhouse, with other people who are just as successful as he is. Some might not be as successful, but they were able to successfully handle the land that they bought. So just keep those things in mind. The next thing that I'd like to tackle is this. So Dave Ramsey does believe in a 401k, but he believes that you should actually enter in the 401k after you finish paying off all your debt. Grant Cardone, on the other hand, thinks that 401k is a ripoff. I am more on the side of, I'm really in the middle. I believe that you should have a 401k, especially if you are working at a company that matches that money. That money is for your retirement, and typically it's tax-free. So for that reason, I am not in agreement with Grant Cardone. However, I don't think you have to wait until you pay off all of your debt in order to participate in a 401k. I believe that you should participate in it as soon as you get the job. You don't have to max it out right away. If you are in severe debt, I probably would put in a little bit and not, put in the maximum amount like a lot of financial advisors on TV or YouTube suggest. Again, I am not a financial advisor. Since it is personal and everybody's family structure is set up differently, what I would advise for you to do as far as how much money or how much of a percentage you should put aside, there are free financial planners out there. Here in New York, we have the New York Public Library. You make an appointment with them, and they're virtual, by the way. You probably don't even need to be from New York in order to get help from them. All you have to do is go to nypl.org, go to that website, and set up your appointment. The other thing that we have here is we do have a financial empowerment zone here in New York. Again, now that they're virtual, I have a feeling that you don't need to be from New York in order to get free financial help from them. And then lastly, there is greenpath.org, which is for everybody all over the United States of America. They will give you free financial advice and let you know how much should be allocated to your 401k. And I believe that they would be in agreement with me that you should contribute to that and that you probably don't have to wait until you pay off your debt to do so. All right. And then the last thing that I'm going to tackle is this, and that is Dave Ramsey believes in having a whole lot of jobs, but he doesn't believe in MLMs, while Grant Cardone does believe in MLMs. Okay. On this particular issue, I am with Grant Cardone and not with Dave Ramsey. Okay? Because an MLM, when you're in one, it is a business. And because it is a business, you get to deduct a lot of things for tax purposes. Your advertising, that whatever advertising money that you spend can be deducted. Now, of course, I believe you should be careful in choosing an MLM. The one I'm in is Legal Shield. I was with them for, probably going on 21 years now. And when I was with them, I wasn't with them as an MLM person. I was with them as just somebody who needed legal assistance. And they've been providing me legal assistance for about, I think it was more like 19 years, and then in the 19th year or so, I forgot when I signed on as an associate. But anyway, I say this to say, definitely do your research before you select an MLM, but you can make money off of them. Now, granted, I'll admit, I haven't made a whole lot of money because I really haven't been pushing it as much as I should. But I do believe in the company. I do believe that if I was better at marketing, if I spoke up a little bit more about them, I probably would make more money in it. But regardless of that, I still get to deduct this YouTube channel from it. I still get to deduct whatever I spend as far as being a podcaster, because I have spoken about them before. And I also mentioned that people need to get a lawyer. So for those particular reasons, I definitely believe that you should have an MLM. Even when you buy the clothes or the tote bag or whatever it is that they have, all of that is tax deductible because it's advertising. You're advertising that company. Okay? And if you don't believe me, listen, just go ahead and check with your accountant. So guys, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much my feelings in regards to Dave Ramsey versus Grant Cardone. And as you can see, sometimes I agree with one, disagreed with the other, and sometimes I disagreed with both of them. So at the end of the day, what it is you need to look at both of them and decide. And even if you want to compare my life, you need to decide how you want to live and which one matches where you are right now or where you would like to be in the future. And whichever one resonates with you, that's the one whose courses you should take. That's the one who you should continue to listen to on social media. All right? So my friends, listen, that's all I have. Feel free to share amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.